Happy 2025, and you are once again listening to the Coaster101 podcast. It's been a minute, but I'm back hosting. My name is Andrew Stillwell. I'm in North Carolina, and in part of my goals for 2025 for this podcast, I want to bring some just home run guests on this show so you can hear them talk to me and not hear me talk as much. And so I felt like there was no better way to kick off one of the first shows of 2025. I don't know if it's the very first show. That's the beauty of recording a couple of these things in advance. But I wanted to bring back a past podcast guest who is a bona fide theme park nerd, theme park geek, theme park fan, however we want to put it. But in case you have not read the episode title, shame on you. But our guest this week is Nik Walker. Nik is a professor at NYU. He is the writer of Whiskeyland, which is I'm sure we're going to learn here a little bit more about that. Actor on Broadway. You may have seen him as Aaron Burr in Hamilton, Otis Williams in Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, and recently as Sir Galahad in Spamalot. He's also hero fireman on The Instigators on Apple TV+. And as his playbill bio notes, he is the little brother to James Iglehart, sworn enemy of James Iglehart, infinitely cooler than James Iglehart, and most importantly, solely for the sake of this podcast, a theme park fan. Nik, welcome back to the podcast.
What a joy. What a joy, not only to be introed like that, but also to just talk about James so much and make sure that people know where I stand and where he stands. It really is just one of the, if I get to the end of my career, my life, and on my tombstone says this man bested James Iglehart, then I would go to my grave a happy man.
I love that. Okay. So it is Iglehart. I apologize for the...
Oh no, dude. It's honestly, call him whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? Like his name doesn't matter. Like it's his name is more just like, you know, when you see like a rat on the street, you're like, ooh, like that's kind of what his name is. Do you know what I mean? It's whatever you need to be. It's
for sure.
Very malleable.
And for our listeners who might be more coaster focused than Broadway focused, Mr. Iglehart, James, he originated the role of the genie on Aladdin on Broadway. I believe he won an award for that, Tony Award, maybe.
He did win a Tony Award, yeah.
But we're not here to talk about James Iglehart. We're here to talk with Nik Walker, again, a returning official friend of the pod. You know,
that's very sweet. So honored to be so.
But Nik, you know, what's been going on? I mean, it's been now 4 years since we've talked, but
it has been 4 years, which is crazy.
You got a lot going on. What's new in the world of Nik Walker right now?
It's so funny because there's a lot. If I know consciously that there's a lot going on, at the same time, it feels like this is one of the few moments when I actually have been able to just like sit, and even in sitting, it's so funny because like I'm one of those people that like when I say I'm relaxing, I'm really doing like, it's like, yeah, now I'll work on my personal projects. So there's always something, and I got to work on that. I got to actually learn how to just sit down and be quiet for a second. And I meditate every day, try to figure it out. But I'm very grateful. There's a lot of there's a lot of really cool like projects that I'm involved with that I can't get into specifics, but are giving me some cool stuff to work on in 2025. Most recently, we did the out of town tryout of the musical of Bull Durham, if you know that movie, Kevin Costner movie, and we actually did it where you are in North Carolina, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I hope that comes around again soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Can't say anymore. And then writing for Warner Brothers, writing my musical Whiskeyland, which you mentioned. And just kind of enjoying the ride. That, like I said, like right now, like we always have this joke in December that the industry kind of, like, I would say the industry shuts down probably December 15th in terms of the entertainment industry, right? TV, film, theater, less so because, people are coming to Broadway seeing shows. People are going to their regional theaters, seeing their Christmas carols or their Frozens or what have you. But in terms of like actual things moving and developing, everything shuts down pretty much December 15th. So my last day in the office at Warner Brothers was December 15th. And then literally I know that as soon as January 2nd hits, my inbox will be full. So like truly this is like when we're recording this, is that kind of nice in between time when I just get to chill and watch my movies and think about theme parks, because that is all I really do.
I love see, and I'm glad I'm able to get on your schedule again. Very, very busy man. One thing I want to talk about, and this has happened since you were last on our show, which again, if you're listening now, did not hear the first episode with Nick and my co-host Shane and I. We talked all things theme parks, being a theme park nerd. Canopy Lake Park up in Boston. We talked, you know, Nick and Shane's love for movies and my relative not uninterest, but my lack of movies I've seen.
Yeah,
but since then, I love this about you. You're not afraid to let your theme park freak flag fly.
No, I'm
a
not.
Little bit. So, in a December article, December 2023 article, People Magazine, and this is as you were getting ready to start up Spamalot.
Correct.
You told People Magazine, of all places, like you admitted to it, that you're a theme park fan.
Yes.
How does an interview, like, obviously you're doing press for your show. Yes. How does that come up in conversation?
So I'll tell you, I'll back it up even before that. So the first thing that happens when you open a show on Broadway is if you are in a position to do so, you get a publicist, right? And getting a publicist is like dating. Like you go around and you just figure out like, ooh, not only who does this job in a great way, and so many of them do this job in a great way, but who do I like? You know, that knows me, that gets my vibe. I'm a nerd. For those of you who are possibly watching, you may see my full life-size Batman cowl in the background. Like I'm a giant child. So it had to be a publicist who understood that. And you know, when I got my publicist, I'm with Jill Fritzo, who's amazing. She also has my buddy Ethan, who did Spamalot with me, who was just in the Wicked movie. She has a bunch of people that I love, who I either know or look up to. And the thing that I loved about Jill was she was like, "I want you to be authentically yourself. If what we're gonna do in this time is gonna work, it has to come from you, right? It can't. We're not putting on a mask. We're not making a new Nik Walker. We're taking the things that we love about you and we're putting them out for the world, and you're choosing which parts of the world you want to share with yourself." And so it took when going into these interviews, and we got some really amazing places for especially for this was my first time with the publicist. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. There was, it was so interesting to kind of see where they led the conversation, what I started to vibe with as I was talking to them. And what was so funny about the theme park thing was it was such a, it was like one of the smaller things that we started talking about. But what I honestly think they liked about it was because it was, the article ends up being about how me and Taran Killam, who's my one of my dear friends and also was in Spamalot with me, how we go to theme parks together, like, and that started back in Hamilton days. Like that was something that we were like, yo, we both are just nerds. We both love these parks. If I'm ever in LA, I'm hitting you up and we go. And then the kind of the penultimate was we went to the ill-fated Galactic StarCruiser.
Yep.
And I will say, like, it was, of all the things that People Magazine wanted to talk about, that was the thing that I was like, if y'all want to talk about it, like, let's get in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I freaking love that. Also because I'm a huge, I actually, and we could talk about this all day. I am a pro Galactic StarCruiser person. Even having done the experience, having recognized the flaws in it. That video that came out with that young woman, I was so like, I still haven't watched it because I got so viscerally angry about it, because very popular video. If you guys know what I'm talking about. I forget which channel it is, and nothing against her. She seems wonderful and smart and hilarious. But I was just like, no, you don't. I was like, you don't get it. Like, this was truly such a special thing. at least for me. Maybe not for everyone, but so yeah, so People Magazine just loved it, and that became the headline. Like Nik Walker and Taran Killam take theme park vacations together. Uh, and I was like, yo, you know what? Because I think at the end of the day, I think that when you're talking about publicity and when you're talking about promotion, um, why not? Like, especially for a show, I think that was such the beautiful thing about Spamalot too, was the very nature of the show that I was doing was just about zaniness. It was an improv show, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
whereas another show you might not want to, that might not be what you want to lead, which is because the material is a little more heavy, a little more whatever. This show was literally about, hey, we found 8 Broadway clowns and we're going to put them on stage for 2 hours and we don't know what's going to happen every night. So like, come through. And so an article like that was right in line with, I think, what the press push of that show was. So dude, I'm so happy that article exists. Like, it truly, when it dropped, I was like, that's actually hysterical. That's my first entree into a magazine like People. That is, I will happily lead with that any day. So yeah.
I love it. Yep. And I'm not naming names here, but I do
Mm-hmm.
know there are other media personalities out there.
Yes.
One of them is, even as I'm sitting here Googling, he is a client of Jill Fritzo. And I have reached out to this person. I'm not going to name names. He's a
Sure.
South African comedian. He used to host a show and it
Mm-hmm.
was on daily. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
naming names. I've reached out to her. I've said, hey, we'd love to have your client come on this show, talk about theme parks.
Yeah.
And, another one, he's a long tenured SNL cast member who also had a show on Nickelodeon starring a guy named Kel.
Yep.
Also has said in the media, he is a big theme park roller coaster guy, even does work with Universal.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've tried to reach out. They don't have time for Coaster 101. You know who has time for Coaster 101 that I always appreciate is Nik Walker.
Listen, and I said this to you before. For me, you know what it is for me? It's A, I love this pod. It's so fun. B, it's just that like this is not like a quirk about me. It's not like a little high. It's like, I love this. Like, I truly love this.
Mm-hmm.
And I will stand on that. And so if there's a podcast that's like, hey, let's celebrate, I'm like, let's fracking go.
Love that.
So I'm in, dude. I'm here. Very excited to chat some more.
And I know I got one more question about the People magazine and
Mm-hmm.
the Nik Walker, Taran Killam theme park bromance, however we want
Let's
to call
go.
this.
Yeah.
What I get, you do the icebreaker thing at work, and it's like everybody eventually finds out that either I write for a roller coaster website, I'm a big roller coaster person, host a podcast. It eventually comes to that.
Yeah.
I had our global CEO tell a Zoom call of like 1,800 people that had a fetish for roller coasters. He stumbled over his words.
Love that. Great time.
That's how I know. It's the way it goes. But like, how do you find out like one of your co-stars, again, Taran Killam, long time, Broadway actor, has been on SNL as well, done some other projects. How do you get on the subject with him of like, I like theme parks, you like theme parks, we should do theme parks together?
I don't, it's so funny because to me, when I hear that question, I hear, how do nerds find each other?
Yes.
Right. And it's not like we don't have like a secret handshake per se, but like when you hear somebody talking about something, I'll start with this. The first thing that attracted me to Taran Killam just as a friend was his kindness. Taran came into Hamilton, this was 2016, 2017. He had just finished SNL. He was he still is like a comedian in like a legendary comedian, a legendary artist. And here he was coming in to Hamilton, and we all knew his work. And the way that this was his Broadway debut, the way that he embraced this company, the way that he treated everyone was kindness and curiosity, right? Like, it wasn't somebody coming in being like, well, this is how we do it, over at 30 Rock. It was like, ooh, I don't know this place. I would love to learn how it works. Let me learn. And that was I was just like, yo, this dude is somebody that I will I just want to get to know. And I
Mhm.
remember specifically we have on Broadway, a lot of times shows will do what we call snob Saturday night on Broadway, which is one dressing room will host a party on Saturday night after the show for the cast. So basically, if it's your turn, you'll provide the drinks, the food, the whatever, and pick a theme, and the cast will come. And Taran hosted a party, one of his final nights there, and my wife came through, and the three of us just ended up we started talking about Star Wars, and then we talked about theme parks,
Mhm.
and it was just like, oh, you're a person I can get behind. And
Yes.
then and when I came the next time I came out to LA, I think it might have been you know what, it was when I was I'll tell you exactly when it was, because it involves a theme park. I was going out to Universal Hollywood for the 25th anniversary of Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
I did call out of the show that night to to experience this. I was not playing Aaron Burr that night. I was in LA, in Universal Studios Hollywood. And I texted Terrence like, "Hey, I would love to see you." He was in Malibu at the time, so I didn't know how far Malibu was from LA. It's very far. I took a lift to Malibu after the festivities at Universal Hollywood, and we got lunch and we just talked. And it was like, oh, I would like to be your friend. I would like to just hang with you. You're just a cool dude. Like, and you don't and the things about your career, like, that's so secondary to who you are.
Mhm.
It's his kids, and it's his marriage and his friends. Like, those are the things that he leads with. And I was just like, yo, okay. So the theme park thing just became a thing. And then whenever we would go to theme parks separately, we would text each other like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm at Animal Kingdom. And then when I was in or I'm tracking, this is so crazy to track back this friendship. This is so funny. When I was in Orlando with the Hamilton tour, he was in Orlando with his wife, and we texted. We're like, "Hey, I'm at Animal Kingdom. You want to meet up?" And we met up, and it was like, "Yeah, this is cool." So it just became a thing of like, I would always at least check in with him when I was going to a park. And it's so funny because that's honestly, he has said this, but like, so when we did Spamalot at we did before, for those of you who don't know kind of how Broadway shows work, oftentimes you do an out of town before you do it on Broadway.
Mhm.
And we did our out of town at the Kennedy Center in DC, and at that point his role, Lancelot, was played by Alex Brightman, who's my writing partner at Warner Brothers. And Alex is amazing, but Alex had when it was announced that we were going to Broadway, Alex had already booked a show. He'd already booked Shark is Broken, which is this amazing show about the making of Jaws. And so he was like, I can't do the first 3 months of the run, and it was a limited run anyway.
Mhm.
And Taran was I was like, guys, I know that I'm not casting on this. I know I'm not a producer. I know I'm not a director, but I texted my producer, my director, and the casting director, and I was like, guys, I honestly have the perfect person. Like, I know exactly who can do these first 3 months of the show. He will be perfect. And they were like, who? And I was like, Taran Killam. And they were like, do you think he would be down? I was like, can I text him right now? And keep in mind, this was in August. This was September. Around September 10th, we were supposed to start rehearsals October 3rd.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, I don't know if you are free. I don't know what's going on, but like, we are about to have a party at the St. James Theater, and if you want to come through, I just pitched your name. And he was like, yo, this is amazing. Let me talk to my reps. And it worked out. So it was like, it was truly having a show with both, like, and James Iglehart, like, that's my other big brother. He was in that show.
Mhm.
Christopher Fitzgerald was in that show. Leslie Kritzer, Michael, you're like, all these people who are my dear ones, right? And so it was just a show not only of theme partners, because James is actually also a theme park nerd.
Yep.
It's also a show just some of my best friends, and we all got to play together every day. So the joy, yeah, that's how it started, and that's how it goes. And I actually will show you the thing he got me for his. I feel like it was either his, because the Batman cowl was what Taran got me for my birthday last year. This is what he got me for his. I think it was his. Might have been his thank you gift, his last day. I don't know if you can see this.
This is so we are audio only. So for those
Yes,
who are listening, this is a Club 33
I'll show you.
something ornament. Ooh, medallion, like a
Yep,
coin.
a
This
coin.
is it helps to know the right people who can, know Club 33 and can get you in places, I feel like.
Yes, this I believe it's a like a what do they call those like drinking token, like the ones that you
Challenge coin.
challenge coin. Yes, it's a Club 33 challenge coin. I mean I will never. I mean I'll bring this into the Club 33, but I'm never gonna take. I'm not, I'm not trading this for like this.
No,
is
of course not.
I mean this is precious.
You know what? I'm not going to present the coin today because I'll buy the beer. I don't care. I'm here, right?
Correct. I'll if I'm already here, then I'll buy the beer. You know what I mean? It's gonna
exactly.
happen. So
I love that. And real quick, and I know we're going to talk a lot about Epic Universe because it's you know, again, as you told People Magazine, you in turn you're going to go to Epic Universe.
But we already have. Yeah, it's happening. Continue. I'm so sorry we cut you.
It's okay. But you know, you took another trip, as you mentioned earlier, to the ill-fated the Galactic StarCruiser.
Let's talk about it.
I don't know if I told you this or not, but Shane, who was on the show with us last time, he was a cast member at the StarCruiser. So like he was who
do you know who he played?
That is a great question. I can text him and find out.
Because I'm about to find out that I made myself an idiot and didn't freaking say hi.
No, it's okay. He was one of those. It was like, I think you were talking on social media or something that you were going to be there, and I was like texting Shane. He's like, I'm not supposed to bother the guests. I'm not supposed to go up to him. Let's see.
Wait, was he on my ride? Wait, he might have. Yeah. Because of course, first of all, Shane, it's if you're listening, it's so nice to know. It's so nice to know that you were out there. But I didn't. No, he wasn't on my cruise. He wasn't on my cruise. Because I would have been like Shane. I would have screamed. Because I will tell you, one of my best friends, who's down in Orlando, is named Adam Hose. He's an amazing actor, director, Disney hat for years. He plays Marlin and Gil in the Finding Nemo show at Animal Kingdom. He was my Rafe when I went down there, Rafe Cole, and I didn't have a choice but to be on the smuggler path because it was Adam. So I was looking out for people like, hey, who's here? And I mean, there was so like we can. I mean, again, I want to know what your questions are, but I also want to say before we say anything about Galactic StarCruiser, I just want to shout out anyone who was a cast member on that experience. I don't know how you did it. I don't know. Like, I need you to understand that like I just Bree Moten, Justin Beard, anybody who was on that. Bree played the wonderful singer in the lounge. She was on all the promotions. You guys were doing magic. You're doing magic. And we all see it and we all saw it. And I hope that you understand that, like, the amount of work I was stunned. And just from an acting perspective, I was like, the amount of work it's taking to uphold this illusion is insane. Yes. And we all saw it, and it was, when it was good, it was one of the best things I've ever seen in a theme park. One of the best things I've ever seen in a theme park. And I'm so happy that I got to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk just real quick. I know it's one of those things that's like, it was a once in a lifetime thing. It no longer exists in its current form, other than maybe empty hotel rooms at the back of Hollywood Studios.
Makes me so sad. Continue.
Well, it's okay. What was the just give me a real quick rundown of like the overall experience. You were on as you said, the smugglers track, but you know, the level of immersion that goes in there from the rooms and the dining and everything, you know, give me a little bit of a rundown.
It was overwhelming. I think that was the thing, right? Like there were things, you know, okay. So, and this will be kind of an, you know, I'm never not going to give an honest review. I'll tell you the things I enjoyed and things I didn't enjoy. When you first pulled up, that wasn't the best, only because the immersion really doesn't start, or it didn't start until you got up in the Galactic StarCruiser. And so you got up on the Halcyon.
Yes.
Right. So when you pull up to the loading bay, you pull up in your car and you're geeked up and you're ready to go, and you're fully, you know, if you're like me, Taran, and our friend Daniel Vosovic, we're all dressed up like Han Solo, like variations of Han Solo. I was like a Han Solo Mandalorian hybrid. I had my helmet which it's way down there. I can't get it
You're
from
good.
Mandalorian. But I also had leather jacket and cargo pants and boots and the holster and all those things um from Han Solo's clothes. So I'm a 30 mid 30s man pulling up to a theme park in full cosplay,
Of course.
and I'm paying money that nobody should ever pay for a hotel, let alone an experience, right? So like, I want, as soon as I step out that thing, to be involved. I want to be immersed. I want to feel like I've just pulled up to Mos Eisley and like it's time. And just because of, I think more because of like the legal nature of what they were doing, like when you got there, it didn't start like it was like it was like checking into any other Disney hotel, right?
Right.
It was like you were like, oh, here's your bags, and we're gonna do the bag tags and all this stuff. Once you stepped in, though,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the adventure began, and that was like when you went up and you got on that StarCruiser, and it was just this space. That's what I remember being so overwhelmed by. It was like it nothing about it felt like you were on Earth. Like you really did feel, because it was an enclosed, very well designed space.
Mm-hmm.
So you really were a part of this adventure. And what was very interesting was watching it, you get into the atrium, the main atrium, where a lot of the story will take place, and you'll meet a lot of the characters that will help you on
Mm-hmm.
your journey. And it was so interesting to watch because you had people like me, Taran, and Daniel. Me and Taran are actors and writers, and Daniel is, a fashion designer. So we're very personable. We're there to talk. We're there to have fun. And the more that you talk, if you want to play, they were down to play, right? If you want to sit and just like enjoy the sights, you can do that, and that's your choice. But like, we were there to freaking play. Like, we wanted to get in it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that was one thing that I know that the cast members seemed to appreciate, was like when we were just like fully engaging them and being like, okay, like what are we like, okay, you want to talk, you like, I'll meet you down in the cargo bay in 5 minutes for a secret mission. Like, and I think that was what was so great for us. It Going through the day, the first day culminates in breaking I'm sure you've all heard this before. So the first day culminates in breaking Chewie out of the brig. He gets arrested, and you have to help him escape, and that is so exciting. I'd say the best part of the experience is the end of the first day and the start of the second day, because the end of the first day is that Chewie adventure, and then you go down to Batu for
Mm-hmm.
your offshore day. I forget what they called it. And that's when you're doing the scavenger hunt, and you're talking to people in Oga's Cantina, and that's when, like, if you crash the Millennium Falcon doing Smelgo's Run, they're going to know about it when you go to Oga's. Like, those interconnections, and you're running around Oga's, and it's a huge game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, this land, Batu, that's like, if you go there as a regular theme park guest, it's lovely and it's beautiful, but like, it's not really, it's never really been like, it's not part of Star Wars lore in a way that like you feel it's like kind of like Mos Eisley, but you don't, it's not really like Mos Eisley. So it's like, okay, yeah, this is a cool Star Wars land, but it's not like Diagon Alley,
Right.
right? It's something very different. But the moment that you're in the game, the land makes, it's a different level. The land makes sense, and all of a sudden, these things that were just so random about the land, now you see why there's data pads on some of the walls, and you see that you have to punt. Like, you feel like you're doing something,
Yes.
and that was so freaking special. So I loved it, and again, the things I also, while I was there, automatically knew how unsustainable it was. Like, it was because you're doing, like, you are combining immersive theater with a Comic-Con, with a choose your own adventure book. Like, it's such a niche thing, and you are
Yes.
charging so much money,
Mm-hmm.
and you need so many people to do it, to make it profitable, and the actors that you are paying are working a shift that is insane,
Yeah.
right? Like they're all equity actors, and they're working oh God, I mean, my friend sent me a, I won't say his name, but he sent me a tracking sheet just to show me what was the responsibility of these actors, and it's bananas. Like, they have to, like, the amount of places they have to be
Mm-hmm.
at any given time, to make the stories work. And then within those kind of like set things, they have to be able to like go with you and improv with you. Because if you want to do something, let's say you want to go off and like, talk to a stormtrooper, uh, they kind of have to supervise that. They're both your like, non-playable characters, and they're your babysitters, and they're your conductors. Like, it is three things in one.
Yes.
um so I honestly, I just I knew when I was there that it was like, yeah, this is, unless you figure out a way to make this affordable, and unless you figure out a way to make sure that the audience that you want for this is here, then this is going to be unsustainable. I knew that when I was there, and yet it was still freaking magical. It was everything that I want. Like, I just, talking to a droid, going into your room and having like this droid who like has a full conversation with you, and that it's like an AI algorithm that's basically trying to determine, like, the droid in your room is basically determining which adventure path you're going to take. Are you going to be a Jedi? You're going to be First Order? You're going to be a smuggler, right? But like having a conversation, and like that, and hearing this droid listen to you and then respond and then like tell you where to go to do, it was just so magical. It felt like you want Disney to feel. And I think so often right now, in the world of Disney, so often we're getting these blue sky ideas that don't pan out. Even what they announced at the latest D23, which, like, okay, great, like you're doing some cool stuff, you have some cool pitches, but right, like, we now are trained to know that like whatever Josh D'Amaro puts out, like, as a picture, it will probably not be that, right? Like,
Right.
there is such a distance between the thing that you say it's going to be and what it actually ends up being. And because you always announce these things with the caveat, like, even though he says like, yep, and we're breaking ground on it, in the next year. Well, breaking ground for Disney can mean so many things at this point. It is still just such
Yes.
a general term.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and in a time when like King Ka is gone, in a time when like these things that like truly for theme park people are so special, to have a thing that was, at least for like the middle section, exactly what you thought it was going to be, exactly
Yes.
what you hoped it was going to be. To me, I'll never forget it. Truly never forget it.
I love that. Well, I'm glad you and Taran and your, I forget your third friend's
Daniel,
friend,
Daniel,
Daniel.
yeah,
Daniel, I'm glad you guys got to experience it. So
yes,
I'm a little jealous. I'm not the world's biggest Star Wars guy, but
I
this is,
get it.
again, it's an experience that you wanted to.
Yes,
You saw it on social media and were like, "That's so cool," but
yeah, it's really cool.
alas, but you guys,
Alas,
you know, you've taken that trip, but again, as you mentioned, to People Magazine of all places,
correct.
you've got another trip. It's
We do.
already in the works, and
Correct.
being that it is 2025, we are officially in the opening year of Universal's Epic Universe.
That's my scream of joy. It's my scream of little child joy.
Oh
I'm
my gosh!
so ready. I'm so ready. I'm more ready than I've ever been. And what's ironic is I know what my next big gig is, and I can't say it yet, but part of, honestly, and I mean this, there was an email sent to my agents December 14th, before the industry shut down, saying we actually have to negotiate a day, because I will not be here the day Epic Universe opens. I will not be at my job. I can't do it.
So
Like,
you're
I just fully, I have to be there for like, I have to be there for opening day.
okay.
Do you mean like, and if it doesn't work out, like, sure, I'll be fine. But like, I literally told them, like, and what's going to be really hard about it is like, it's for when this next gig opens, it's like right when we're in the middle of our tech process, which, if you know the show, like, theater at all, it's when we're lighting, we're doing sound, like, it's going to be very hard to get me out of that day.
Yes.
um but if there's any way to do it, May 22nd. I have to be present for Epic Universe. I can't not be.
That was going to be my question. Is like you're all in on opening day. You're going to be there.
I would
if you can be.
If I can be, I would really love to be, because there's something, I was actually there for Galaxy's Edge opening day on in Land, and there was something so right when you go, and it's that first time, and for Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance wasn't even, or not, Rise of the Resistance wasn't even open yet, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was just Smuggler's Run, but like they had the Millennium Falcon, they had all these things, and it was just being there at the same time before the pictures are posted on social media, right? Before you get things ruined. Like at this point, I've pretty much had, because, I've tried to stay away from it, but my algorithm is all theme park and comic book stuff. So I've seen, the Donkey Kong Country coaster from over in Asia. I've seen like all these things that I'm looking forward to seeing. But like, do not ruin Dark Universe for me. Like, do not like, you mean like these things that are just in our park? Mm-hmm. The How to Drain Your Dragon Land. I mean, I've seen construction videos, but like Ministry of Magic, like all mm-hmm. these things. I really, if I can, I would like to be there and just experience it for myself before it hits me through the numerous theme park publications that will review it and talk about it at length. Yeah.
So you're in. So that was kind of be like my next question. You hinted at it a little bit. You're all in on like the construction progress and following things and all these teases from Universal and everything.
So obviously Coaster101, TPM vids, the Diz, because Craig, who's no longer with the Diz, and Rhino, or Rhino Clavin. We became friends in the Hamilton days. I love them. I haven't listened to Tim Tracker in a while, but there's people that I just love how they cover theme parks, and so that's, if you go on my YouTube, that is pretty much, you will inevitably see a whole row of just theme park videos. So I'm following the construction. I am keeping up with the progress, because it's so, I think that they really do have the opportunity here to do something so special. I think that they really, for those of us who grew up with these IPs, like, again, you go to some, I was at this place upstate New York outside of Cold Spring for both Halloween and Christmas. They do this amazing haunted house up there, the Headless Horseman hay rides up in, it's like maybe 45 minutes outside of Cold Spring, New York, and it's amazing, and it's not IP related, right? It's just like a good haunted house experience for both like Halloween, and then they do a Frostbite one for Christmas. It's incredible. And there's something so cool about going to just a themed land that is not IP related, that is just about a holiday or a vibe or a feeling. Like, it's very cool. We love that, right? And that's that's what Not Scary Farm is. That's what all these things are. When you have a park like Universal or Disney, even like, what's that? Is WB Abu? Is it Abu Dhabi? Where the
Warner Brothers? Yeah, they've got Warner Brothers in Abu Dhabi and then one in Australia.
Yeah, right. Like all these places that are doing these more IP related work. The only thing that makes it not a cash grab, the only thing that makes it not like I remember that, what was that Tomb Raider ride that freaking I forget who had it, that was like, it was that crazy like flipping
King's Dominion.
Thank you.
Yep, King's Dominion. Island, both islands.
Right. Yep. Like which was such a cool thing until they lost the IP, and then it was just like, what is this? The only way that you get away with doing IP is really leaning into the storytelling. You have to, if you're going to do it, then you have to immerse me. And Epic Universe just looks like something that they are really going in, and they're going in a way that like I don't think we are prepared for. I don't think that like we in the States right now have the kind of immersion they're talking, because like Tokyo Disney Sea has it, right? And then there's also that Jurassic World ride that's amazing. Is that in Beijing that I'm thinking of?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like those, they have it where it's like you are in it.
Mm-hmm.
But like we even with Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, I think that this, what I'm seeing, just looks like something next level.
Yes.
And if they can pull it off, I'm like, y'all about to. I mean, like, and not that the goal is to wipe Disney off the map, but it's like there won't really be, Disney has nothing to hit back with. They have.
Yeah.
They don't have. Yeah.
They've got a shovel in the ground. It's 2025.
It's wild to. Do you remember when they first announced Tron? I know everyone's talking about this.
Yes, like 2017.
Literally 2017. And this ride, we were all like, oh, thank God. And it literally took them. And like they said, and again, we know the pandemic was hard. We know the shutdown was hard. But like Universal was doing construction. Like, what were you doing? What were you actually doing? So I just, again, right now, I'm looking at them like, I'm so excited. I'm in your corner. I'm in your corner. I just want to see. In the same way that I was for Galactic StarCruiser. Just very excited. Yeah. Are you excited?
Oh man, I'm thrilled, and it's one of those. I think you and I are taking a different strategy. I want nothing to do with the first day.
Yeah.
Like first couple of months, let them get what they got to do. Let everybody get there, clear out a little bit. They won't. They absolutely won't. It's going to be slam jam packed with people
for a while,
forever. And I'm eventually going to have to like suck it up and go down there, but. Like you were talking about, to the level that this is being built and being advertised, this is nothing we've ever seen in the United States before. Even, I mean, as far as like full scale theme parks, outdoor amusement parks, like full scale, like talking dozens of rides, all sorts of stuff. There's been hardly anything built in the US in the last, 20 years. There's like Hard Rock Park in Myrtle Beach, and Lost Island in Waterloo, Iowa, if you want to count that, is like new full-size parks.
Yes.
And it's like, this is going to, like, this is definitely easily the biggest theme park opening since Animal Kingdom in '98.
I think they have the opportunity to really do what Animal Kingdom did, to the point where like Animal Kingdom now, to me, is still the best park in Disney. Like 25 years later, right? Like it is still the reason to go there, right? It is just so, and now, they're going to shove all this random IP in there, which is like, okay, sure. But like when it opened, it was Joe Rohde's playground, right? It was like, that was the point. So I just think that we can really, these guys are swinging for the fences. Even the little clips of all the monsters in Dark Universe, just those little, like, and you knew this was what really got me. You saw that werewolf, the werewolf swipe. This might just be me. The first thing I thought was Yeti.
100%. That is a shot across the bow. 1000%.
Literally.
And
I was like, go ahead.
It's the meme that's like you versus the man she told you not to worry about.
Jesus.
It is that meme in real life.
They said, not only are we going to do it, but ours works. And like, it's the exact same motion as I was like, oh, y'all are out here. Just, you don't even care anymore. So I just love, and that's what I would hope. And I honestly, in the time of, we were all excited when Iger came back, and I love what Iger did in terms of, right, the reinvigoration of nerd culture. I think that was amazing. I think he was extremely smart with the IPs he bought and things he did. But in terms of what he and DeMauro have been doing with the parks lately, it's like, in the old days, to me, this comes out and Disney says, ooh, we got to get going.
Yes.
Right. Like it's the healthy competition. It's the right. But the things that they dropped at D23, I was just sitting there like, y'all are scrambling. Like this doesn't feel to me this, and I'm not trying to, this is not a knock. Like the Imagineers are working hard. Everyone's working hard. So I'm not taking away from them, but it did have that feeling of like, oh yeah, we've kind of been sitting and like, and I knew that because it was so reactive. Everything they were saying in that presentation was so about like, see, we're not like truly like they I think this is paraphrasing, but they even said like, we don't, this is on like a quarter earnings call that Bob Iger had. He was like, we're not doing big projects, we're doing like incremental changes, right? We know that you're worried about, these big swings that are happening across the street, and we're taking big swings too. We're dropping all this money, but it's incremental.
Yes.
It's like, that is such diplomatic language for we don't have anything.
Nope.
And not with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like and these things that you've announced, like, we'll see. Only time will tell. Like, literally only time will tell. So I don't know. I don't know. I also, of the idea of a villain's land, which I think is I'm not saying it's not going to be wonderful, but I think anything that's reactive is going to be a little problematic. Like, you're not trying to, there's Disney, when you go down City Walk in Orlando versus when you walk down Main Street in Orlando are two different experiences. And in my opinion, every time I see Disney trying to do a 1-for-1, they do, okay, so they're doing How to Train Your Dragon. So what fantasy things do we have? Let's throw Encanto in there. Do you mean like it's so reactionary as opposed to like, just what do you want to do? Like, who do you want your company to be? Because what they're doing is like picking IPs that, like, yes, I'm not going to pretend that they did not market test these and be like, what are the lands that are going to bring most people in? But like, they're also being, it's extremely smart. You got How to Train Your Dragon for the kids. You got Super Mario Brothers for the millennials who don't want to be scared. You got Dark Universe for the millennials who do want to be scared. And then you have what is Celestial Park for the families. Like, and you know what I mean, like, you've really thought this out in a way that's like, it's not just random. It is coordinated, and it is smart, and it gives your creators a chance to go ham. So Encanto is, if I see one more screen, if it's, one more water ride with a screen, it's like, sure, man, great, like, so cool. Like, you mean, like, I don't know.
I'm with you. I totally agree. And you mentioned the Imagineers, they're working hard. A lot of that stuff I feel like has ended up at Paris or Tokyo Disneyland or Shanghai.
Yes.
And it hasn't really made its way to the US yet. Meanwhile, you've got guys like Greg Hall, who led the Velocicoaster and is now doing this, the Frankenstein's Dark Ride, the Monsters Unchained Dark Ride. I think he's the lead on that. He's cooking. He is absolutely cooking.
And they know that, and it feels like they're not holding him back.
Right.
It like when Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened, I looked at that ride and I said, and here's the thing, and this is, again, anything I say comes from me, right? It's not meant to be, the ultimate good judgment arbiter of good or bad. Splash Mountain, going on Splash Mountain, and I will honestly say, going on Splash Mountain as a person of color was like a little weird. It did feel weird. It was we laughed about it. I love this ride, but it's also like, yeah, I mean, it is cringe. Like it's not great. It's not a great feeling.
Right.
And if you were going to do an overlay of Splash Mountain, Tiana's great idea. I know this sounds so nitpicky. You guys know storytelling. That drop is meant to be, it is built to be a tension builder. You literally pull people up no matter what your story is, you're pulling people up a dark hole and then splashing them out into the open air and water, and it's a massive drop. The idea that like you wouldn't know what to do with it, that you would put like what Mama Odie and say, now you're growing big again. Like, you literally have Dr. Facilier in your hands. Like, we were always like, I was on the team of like, great. So you're telling me we're going to get friends on the other side as we go up that ramp. It is built for that. And it was just like, how did you miss that mark? Meanwhile, you're putting out all these videos about how you've done all this like research into New Orleans and you're going to make this like a great place for authentic New Orleans. Yo, we know it's not real New Orleans. Real New Orleans is a 2-hour drive from you. Do you mean like, we know like all that stuff was the stuff that was like trying to, it just felt like, you were trying to answer the wrong question. To me, the question isn't, how do we sell this? The question is, what do we do within the structure we have that is A, more inclusive than Splash Mountain was, but B, respects what was there.
Right.
And like, and not to say that they didn't, so much of that from what I've seen, I haven't written it yet, but like so much of the footage I've seen does respect it. But like, there's so many moments that just feel like y'all didn't think, y'all just literally threw things over what was already there and didn't think about what this new story needed.
Right.
And so it doesn't make any sense. And you're taking these wonderful characters and giving them short shrift. That ride is short shrift for them. So it really is fascinating to me. Again, just to watch the difference between a park that is willing to take a risk and a park that isn't. Exactly. Because I'm talking so much, so I promise I'll shut up. But this is the last thing I'll say. Dark Universe is a risk, right? The idea of a year-round horror park, risk. That doesn't really happen. You mean like, and I know they're gonna also. Are they still doing that thing? It's not in Texas.
Vegas, Area 15.
Vegas, right? So like, they're gonna try it, but it's a risk, and it's a big risk because if it doesn't work, it's just gonna be there, right? And your crowd attendance might not be able to fill it, and you have the Burning Blade and all these amazing things. But what I love about that, and it's and let's be clear, it's not even with their most popular IP.
No.
It is literally the IP that like everyone's forgotten that you're all trying to juice up again, right? But you're doing it, and you're doing it hard. You're saying, and your marketing is saying, guys, we're going to do something a little different. Go on, and that is, I swear to you, I promise you, watch how that is the most packed park, more than Harry Potter.
100%.
You know what I mean? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You're good. Like I said at the top of the show, my goal for 2025 is to have awesome guests who are passionate about what they're talking about. Talk as much as you want. I'm good. People get to hear me 52 weeks a year on this show. So, but
it's go ahead.
No, it's like it's. I agree with you. I think Dark Universe. It's the one people are like, yeah, we love Halloween Horror Nights. We love the Universal monsters. They're not ready for what this is going to be.
No. And the work to immerse you in that land, and this is, I think, they're going to be their biggest challenge. To me, the work to immerse you in a horror land that's in Orlando, right? Because it's not like the sky's going to be, it's Orlando, so it rains a lot, but it's not like the skies are going to be, dark and cloudy every day. Sometimes it's going to be blue skies. So you really have to make what's happening on the ground intense.
Yes.
And just that footage of the Burning Blade, I was like, oh my God. Oh, y'all are really, this is going to be something. So yes. I just think that whatever they do, even if this is an epic failure, they will have gone through and laid down a gauntlet, because the promotion alone should be scaring Disney. If I was a Disney shareholder, I'd be terrified right now.
Yes.
In terms of parks and events.
And how they're, slowly rolling it out. I know they had like the Harry Potter, whatever the ride's going to be, but they had that previewed on like NFL football on like Monday or Sunday Night Football.
They know.
It's like they're on it.
They know. They're on it. They know, and they're doing it in a way that's like not just they are trying, I think that Disney is becoming a place similar to what's happening with, the MCU or what happened. I think, and to be fair, I think they're pulling back on this a little bit, but at its worst, the MCU became a place, and everybody talked about this talking point, where you had to do homework to keep up with it. Right. And what I love about the IPs that Universal is choosing, they're all IPs that everyone knows what Frankenstein is. Right. They might not know what Universal monsters are, but they know what Frankenstein is. They know what vampire is. They know what werewolf is. Right. So you are making a point to try to reach out to people who've never been to a theme park before. There are people who've never heard of Harry Potter, but who know what a vampire is, and they're going to come see this. They're watching Monday Night Football, and they're like, ooh, oh, that seems like a theme park I can get behind. And you're getting the people with the money to do it, right? Millennials right now are the people with the money to do it.
Yep.
So this is like you said, I think you said it perfectly, shot across the bow. And I hope that Disney livens up and takes a risk Takes a risk.
And if not, we'll put a shovel in the ground in December and say it's good.
Correct.
It's happening. It's happening.
There's something's happening, and it's great. There's a shovel there. It's great.
That's right. What else? I think I've got where you're headed to first, but what is what is the attraction? And if the answer is Monsters Unchained, that's this amazing dark ride. But what is the attraction you are most looking forward to? Maybe not necessarily headed to first on opening day when you're there, because I'm willing this into existence. Like, you're going to get that day off.
Please.
Tech rehearsal.
Please
it's the tech rehearsal director guy. He's going to get sick that day. And it's like, we can't even do this. So
can't even be there.
Nope. So what attraction are you looking to first? Looking forward to the most.
Monsters Unchained is definitely up there, but honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm actually going to, I'm going to judge it off Ministry of Magic. I think and I'll tell you why, because I think that Harry Potter at this point is good. It's they've done it twice. That right. They have a formula for it. They know how to make it work. And even this, which takes place in a different geographical location, it's Paris, and it's a different time than Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade cover, right? I think those are the 5th year of the Harry Potter verse, and this is after the events of the last book. So all those things considered, this should be across the plate for them. This shouldn't be a heavy lift for them. And yet I'm hoping they make it a heavy lift. If I go in and I see that, and I'm already seeing it. If I see that, you didn't really have to do much with this, and yet you're doing it, then that's how I'm going to know. Because I was going to say Donkey Kong Country. I was going to say that was another ride too, but like, that's so, the interesting thing about Super Nintendo World to me is that it feels like how do you essentially put a video game as immersive? I don't know. It's not because it's not as much of a 1-to-1 as you would think it is, because the entire I was thinking about what the reports coming back from Bowser's Castle were, and it was and like just the idea that it's beautiful, but it really is there. What about the experience could you not get by playing your controller?
Exactly.
Right. And so I think with Ministry of Magic, which is full immersion, I think that's going to be such a good litmus test, because I think I think Donkey Kong, I just have to be a little more lenient for, not because it's going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be bad, but I'm just like, but you're doing something that like so many of us have seen for 10 years. We already know where the turns are. Like there's not the only thing you can do that surprises us is just, it's real. Right. Like as opposed to, you're going to show us, dark corridors of the Ministry of Magic that we've never seen before. You're telling a new story that we're not familiar with. Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you there. I think, again, Universal they're 2 for 2 on hitting absolute grand slam home runs with Harry Potter. So if they can go 3 for 3, that'll be I think
they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it.
I think so. And, even the footage that's come out on TikTok of the Minecart Madness coaster in Japan.
I know.
It's okay, but
it's okay.
You can't expect that coaster in as you said, a millennials who don't want to get scared. I feel like it's a great demographic for that families, maybe family plus, if we'll call it that, like that tween demo. Like if you think of it more as Universal's Thunder Mountain, and I think I saw that online. I don't remember who said it.
Yes, I think it's very smart.
You go in and expect a huge thrilling coaster. That's not it. But
no,
that's going to exist other places in the park. I mean, Stardust Racers, for example. I don't know if you've seen the videos of this thing testing at night.
I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to scare you, and I don't want to like send you down a path you don't want to go down. But it's got like lights that trail the train. The track lights up. I mean, this is going to be a visual spectacle during the day, just because the trains are dueling and they've got that rotating celestial spin element, I think is what they call it, or they've all got all these marketing jargon that I haven't committed to memory yet, so forgive me. But they've got kind of a rotating the trains go over each other element. But So that'll be cool to watch during the day, but at night this thing's going to light up, and the trains are going to have lights on them. The track's going to have lights. It is going to be badass.
Yeah.
So, and
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. And are you you're a theme park guy? Are you still a coaster guy? Or are you know?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. You know, I will, if it's there, ride it. I will say the ones that have theming are, you know, just because of what I do for my job, I think are more prescient for me. But yeah, I'll do anything. I'll jump on anything.
I love it.
Know? Yeah.
Good deal. And when you go for the whole opening day experience, you going to stay on site, do everything? Or are you going to?
Oh, I have to. I don't know if, I mean, this is what I'm saying, because that's why this has to be contractual for me. Because I'm like, I need to know now so I can book that hotel.
Yes.
Right. Like that's, I need to know. So I would love to get the full experience of being there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Listen, we are 100-ish days, depending on when this episode releases. Once we get into double-digit numbers, and it's, again, we're recording this, we'll tell you, New Year's Eve. So it is not quite 2025, but you're listening to 2025. Magic of podcasting. Wow. Magical. But, you know, we're 142 days, I believe. It's the number from New Year's Eve. So 6 weeks from today, so it'll be the middle of February, it will be 100 days from Epic Universe.
Oh my God. That's so exciting. This is a very exciting time. Very exciting time to be alive.
It is. So we can't wait. It's going to be a great year. Obviously, the rest of the theme parks, but I know, Nick, you're super excited for Epic Universe, everything else going on at Disney when and if it happens. We're excited for that too.
Yes.
But you know, before we wrap this up, do you have anything you want to plug? Like, you know, your writing. You mentioned your show for Warner Brothers or your Whiskey Land, or anything you want to plug.
It's so crazy because by the time this show comes out, I will have things that I could plug, but at the moment, like I literally can't say. But here's what I'll say: when you're listening, if you visit my Instagram, go to my Instagram at Nikki Walks, go to my threads at Nikki Walks, you will see inevitably announcements for things that are happening in the New York area and or in the national area. So come on out or watch from your computer, or you know, come to Broadway and you'll see some stuff. Then maybe I'll be there doing some things.
And that is, just to, again, for the sake of the audio listener, that is NIKKYWALKS. And so Instagram, threads. But yeah, this is awesome. Nick, true pleasure to have you back on. I want to do this as much as you'll allow us to do it, but you know,
I'll always be back.
If you're busy, we're always here for you, but it's great to see you again.
So good to see you, and thank you for being such a stalwart supporter of all these things and listening to me rant my madness. And to all of you coaster nerds out there, I see you. I'm one of you. Let's keep it strong. You know, they can't stop us. They can't stop us all. We'll get our day in the sun.
I love it. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, after you follow Nick on Instagram and threads, you can follow us on all social media as well. We are at Coaster101. That's COASTER 101. That's, if you don't know that by now, I don't know what to tell you. I also have a website if you prefer to consume your content in the written word, which is, you know, it's a dying art, but somebody has to do it. So coaster101.com for that. And we've got Epic Universe updates every once in a while. That's, you know, Nick tunes in. He's still watching. He's watching coaster POVs in his dressing room still.
Literally. Not even joking.
I love it. But if you're listening, make sure you're liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, telling a friend, you know, and the more people who like the show, listen to the show, we will continue to get great guests like Nick. You can hear them talk, hear me talk less. Everybody wins. So
please.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Coaster 101 podcast, and we will talk to you again soon.